For the residents here will feel safe again. Emma Jane Kirby, BBC News.
Well, our correspondent Sarah Rainsford is on her way to Lorca this morning, and a little earlier she gave me the latest on the quakes.
8 people confirmed dead, 2 people seriously injured. The original figure that we were getting from the local authorities was 10 dead, but they changed that last night. So 2 people seriously injured, many other people harmed and hurt by the falling bricks and the stones that came down from those buildings, particularly after the second earthquake, which was just before 7 o'clock yesterday evening. It was a very nervous night, of course, last night for people. 10,000 people, we understand from the local authorities, were unable to go back to their houses because the damage was just too bad. And I'm sure you've seen in those pictures, enormous cracks up the sides of buildings, some places entirely collapsed, some places with huge holes out of the side. Really devastating impact. And we're told that's because the earthquake itself was extremely shallow. It was very close to the surface, and the epicenter for that second larger earthquake was very close to the centre of the town of Lorca itself.
Yeah, I mean, one resident yesterday saying, we know we live near a fault line, but we never thought this would happen. It is that sense of shock, isn't it?
It is, because, although there is a fault line here, you don't really hear about earthquakes in Spain very much. This is the deadliest earthquake for several decades. There was one in 1969 which killed just under 20 people, I think. But local people in Madrid, for example, where I came from, I'm now in Alicante, people in Madrid were saying, they've never heard of an earthquake in their lifetime. So it's extremely unusual, and certainly the number of people killed and injured by this is extremely unusual. There are earthquakes, there are tremors, people do feel the earth shake, but for it to cause this much damage has really shocked people.
Now, thousands of people spending the night outdoors, and presumably it's going to be some time before their homes, if they're still standing, can be repaired.
Yeah, I think that's the next big task. Military search and rescue teams have come in, but we don't have any lists of people or any information about people who've been reported missing. So I suspect that the role of the police and the soldiers and those extra teams would be to clear away the rubble, to try to assess what sort of state the buildings that are still standing are in, and whether or not people can get back into them. And it's not just houses. Many of the official buildings, the buildings of the local authorities, have been damaged, schools. The main hospital in Lorca was so badly damaged that it was evacuated. All the patients have been moved to other hospitals in the area. And the same goes for an old people's home. The roof there, or part of the roof, collapsed, and people were moved out for their own safety. So there's a big clean-up operation and a big job then to try to establish what's safe, where people can go back and when, and if they can't go back for some time, what exactly they're going to do, where they're going to live.
That was Sarah Rainsford. Now, a court in Munich is expected to give its verdict today in the case of John Demjanjuk.